Vacation Bible School, Jack and Jill. There was we knew them very well. We participated in Easter plays and the nativities. So 16th Street Church was very active, and my family and their families were very active in the church as well. I was about 3 rooms down from where the girls were, on the same side of the church in the basement.
When the bombing took place?
Yes, sir.
So did you, any injuries, anything happen to you, Dale?
No, nothing physical, only we were pretty shaken up by experiencing that. See, my brother was 9 and I was 11, and we had just experienced a few months prior. My dad worked a block away at the A.G. Gaston Motel, which was, again, another meeting place for the movement. Dr. King would stay there, and some of the people in the SCLC and the Freedom leadership would meet at the A.G. Gaston Motel and stay there because that was the only place African Americans could spend the night. And so he worked there, and it was bombed in June. I think it was about June 12th. And so we woke up Sunday morning to understand that he had been a victim of a bombing as well. So we were really mentally torn apart, especially when we found out about the girls losing their lives. Now, my grandmother, once again, Reverend, said, pray, have faith, walk upright, and get a good education. But what she did in the aftermath of the bombing, she said, do something for somebody else.
And that's a good segue. So with this experience, this traumatic mental, emotional encounter that really took the lives of 4 precious girls and really affected Black Americans all throughout the nation, how did this compel you to get involved in being social activism, but in the church and in the community? What are some of the things you've been doing?
Well, let's see. After leaving Birmingham, I wanted to get as far away from Birmingham as I could. Yeah. And that brought me out this way to Texas Southern to play in the band. And while at Texas Southern, it was a socially active school.
Okay.
And we were involved with fraternity, and it was there that I learned about big brothers, big sisters, mentoring. And so we mentored kids in the neighborhood across the street, if you remember, at the CUNY homes.
Oh, yeah.
But once I finished school and went to work, I was working on the space shuttle program for NASA. I was introduced once again to the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. So I've spent most of my adult life engaged in that type of activity, not only volunteering myself, but recruiting men and women all over the country.
So I think about this. So you go to the Texas Southern University, our proud alma mater, and so you're there, so you get connected with the fraternity, but more so your heart really got impassionate about serving.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. In the after the bombing, Carol's funeral was Tuesday, and then Denise, Ada, and Cynthia's funeral was the following day, Wednesday. And I got a chance for the first time in my life to see Dr. Martin Luther King in person. He was 10 feet away.
So he did the eulogy.
Sir?
He did the eulogy. So he preached.
Yes. Okay. And I listened to the eulogy on standing on the outside of the church because there were so many people, they wouldn't let me in. But I listened to his eulogy. And then after the service was over, I watched the pallbearers bring 3 caskets out and load them into the hearse. But there he was standing there leading the recessional with Reverend Abernathy and Reverend Cross at 16th Street Church and some of the other, Reverend Shuttlesworth and some of the other ministers. And he stood there and looked like every time I looked away, he was looking right at me. And that proved to be one of the most powerful experiences in my life. I call it my epiphany experience. Amen. You know that you know that you know that you know.
You just know that you know. Yes, sir.
And so when you combine that with the mantra that my grandmother always used, I knew that a lifetime of service was meant for me. And again, at 11 years old, I had no idea what it was, but I soon discovered it a few years later when I was in Houston at Texas Southern University. Wow. So, I'm a deputy voter registrar. I do some of the volunteer work around the church. I serve on a few boards and commissions out here in Garland, and just made it a lifetime of service.
And you took my notes. I think I guess the Holy Spirit usually gossips and knows what we want to say. But I was going to ask you, when we talk about the Black church being resilient and the Black church engaging in social activism has what right now? What responsibility would you say the Black church should engage in social activism? Because think about it, you were at CUNY homes, and you know the Floyds. I think the Floyd family lived in the CUNY home. So it's amazing how this is kind of coming full circle. So let me ask you this question. So do you feel that the Black church has a responsibility today to continue to engage in social activism? If so, give us 3 ways that the church right now, the Black church, can engage in social activism.
Absolutely, Reverend. The church is so important, as it was 60 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, the church is right in the middle, in most cases, right in the middle of the community. So it's important that those in the church understand the needs of the community. I use, for example, my church here in Dallas, the Hamilton Park United Methodist Church. They have a food program going on where they know that people are out of work. They know that it's tough to go to the grocery store and buy meals. And so a few times a week, they're serving people in the community. The very first COVID-19 test that I took was administered in the parking lot because we knew that that was such an important issue to do in the Hamilton Park community. And it was so important. So they made that service available to not only the parishioners of the church, but the surrounding community and beyond. So again, the church is very important.
So the first thing, so you said we need to meet their physical needs. So we met physical needs by feeding them food for the stomach. And then also they got testing that made sure they would be safe from a health standpoint. So the church is good. I like that. What's another way the church can get involved?
Well, there are so many other ways. One would be voter registration and voter education. So important. We have to elect people that are going to do good for people like us. Yeah. And the only way you do that, in some cases, they're right there in the church. We have people traditionally and historically. If you look back at the history of the church, Reverend Zan Holmes ran for the state legislature and served a number of terms. Just here recently, our senator from Georgia, Reverend Wallen, he's the minister at Ebenezer Baptist Church, Dr. King's church. And he's now in his 2nd or 3rd week in the United States Senate. And we're looking for great things out of him. But his activism and his involvement grew out of being a part of such a powerful church in Atlanta, Ebenezer, a historic church. So those type of instances has to be repeated all across the country, again, in the Black church.
And just to let you know, one thing with strengthening the Black church for the 21st century, our responsibility is how do we resource the Black church to be relevant, self-sustaining, and vibrant, even in the midst of these unprecedented times. So you laid it out. You said it best. Food for the stomach, partnering with the healthcare industry, getting make sure that you all keep your mask on and go get vaccinated. Have you got your vaccine yet?
I have number 1, and I'll get number 2 of the Pfizer on Thursday. And I'm so excited about it because I'm ready to get it, because that will enable me to get out in the community. One of the things that we're experiencing here in Dallas, for example, is older people don't have computers. And if they did, in some cases, don't know how to use them. Imagine how many people are just scratching their heads when they hear on television and hear on the radio, go to your computer, go to this website and sign up to get your COVID test. There's another opportunity for to recruit young people and perhaps do it over the phone. You know, call into the church, provide your information, and you have young people with computers sitting there enrolling seniors who otherwise wouldn't have that service available to them. So on my own, I picked up the phone and called people and said, hey, have you signed up? If you want my help, let me know. If you want to talk with kids.
That's social activism.
Because we have to do that.
And you're getting engaged.
And you know, awesome. Sometimes it's not even organized. Sometimes it's not organized. You just sort of think of it and we'll do it.
But you know what, though? The world was created out of chaos. And sometimes order is birthed out of chaos. So, you know, sometimes even in chaos, you got to find your place. How do you fit in to make a difference? And as you know, social activism is messy. You know, it's nothing sexy about it, but it's sacred. and you got to just find your place and make it happen. That's what you've been doing. And I just want to ask this one last question. I've been in ministry over 25 years now. And 2020, as you know, has been a major challenge. We've had, the global pandemic. We have racial unrest. We had the political polarized, politics, and the administration of 45, and so much more. I can go on and on. But I began to ask myself, Brother Long, does the Black church matter? And I've been asking myself the question. So my question to you, does the Black church matter with all you've experienced? If so, why does the Black church matter?
Well, we've just talked about how the role that the Black church played in Birmingham. And it wasn't just 16th Street Church. There were churches all over the city, but 16th Street Church was sort of the centerpiece, if you will, because of its proximity to downtown. You have people in the church, and in my case, 7 days a week. Sometimes you have politicians themselves who attend church, but you have people who are connected to other organizations, the NAACP, SCLC, the Urban League, UNCF, other institutions that they can partner with. And there's a whole lot of know-how, a whole lot of people with vast experiences that can make a difference. And so if you just use the resources within your home church, you'll be surprised how knowledgeable people are. Thus, the church is involved because of the people that are there.
And the church is the people, and,
Absolutely.
And the church is stronger with people like you, Brother Long. And I just want to say thank you. And do you have a website or email address if people want to hear your story? Because I know you go out and tell your story. So do you want us to give that so we can kind of get the word out, because you have a powerful story?
Well, thank you. You can find me at Dale, DALE 1906 at Verizon.net. Dale, DALE 1906 at Verizon.net. There's another important website, Kids in Birmingham 1963.org. There's a group of people who grew up in Birmingham. We're all over the country now. We're Black and white. We couldn't have known each other back then because of segregation, but we found each other 60 years later. So that's a very vibrant group that's doing great things in the community. And I would ask your viewers and listeners to go to that site and read the stories similar to mine of people who were in Birmingham back in the 60s.
Yeah, and I would be remiss, brother Dale, if I didn't talk about that black and old gold shirt that you have on. And as you see, I have my black and old gold sweater.
Yes, sir.
And I did this on purpose because, first of all, you've been carrying the light a long time. And I want you to know, what would you say to the Divine Nine, to the other Black Greek organizations to get involved in this whole work of social activism? What word would you encourage them? Because remember, we're all in the same gang. We're not competing with anybody. We're all striving for justice, freedom, and equity.
Well, our vice president, who's a graduate of Howard University and a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and our new freshman senator raised the bar in terms of elevating not just HBCUs. He went to Morehouse, and she was at Howard, but he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, and she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And so a lot is expected of us as members of those organizations. Every one of us were founded and continue to work at the alumni level because of the know-how, because of the connectivity, because of the resources that someone felt needed to stay together to make things happen in a positive way for people of color. So we've been around for 114, 15 years, but there's a lot more to do, as you've already said. 2020 was a tough year. And so we need to get out there and do the things that we know we need to do in order to strengthen our people. There are thousands of young men, especially on the waiting list, waiting for big brothers. So that in and of itself is an opportunity for.
Say more about your role with Big Brothers. And there's somebody listening right now, maybe in Denver, maybe in Alabama, somewhere around the country. Tell them more about Big Brothers and how their mentorship can make a difference in this unprecedented season.
Their kids, for example, my little has really not been in the classroom for an entire year. And this is his senior year in high school. That's so important to him. And so we've not seen each other because of COVID. The last time I saw him one-to-one, we went to see the movie Just Mercy. And then right after that, I bought him a copy of the book for his birthday, and we discussed the book and the movie.
Oh, awesome.
I'm trying to get him into somebody's school to try and allow him to continue his education. So I've known him ever since he was, 7 years old. And
so you've known him that long?
Yes, sir. We've been to ball games. We've been to college campuses. We've been to church. He's been to my church. I've been to his. We have the same friends in some cases. And it's just an opportunity to be there for young people who otherwise would not have an opportunity. So if you email me, I don't care where you are, I can make that connection.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for just extending your heart and your hands to making a difference in the lives of our young people. And I want you to know you've been a blessing to me from afar. You've blessed me not only just being an alpha man, but just being a man of God and a proud United Methodist. So once again, I want to thank Mr. Brother Dale Long, a survivor of the 16th Street Birmingham bombing. Baptist Church, thank you all for joining us tonight. Make sure you share this page, like this page, and come back next Monday. Brother Long kind of segued. We want to talk about the Black church's role in politics, and we're going to have Billy Honor. Billy Honor was one of the right-hand persons for Sister Stacey Abrams, who's also a United Methodist. And because of their influence, they were able to flip Georgia from red to blue. So come on back next week, same time at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to let you all know that the Black church is resilient. And indeed, we have stand power. May God bless you and may God keep you. See you all next week. And hey, by the way, stay tuned. We have a big announcement. So go to our Facebook page. We got a big announcement coming this week. Go to our page, and we're going to give you a big announcement with what SBC 21 is about to do. So you don't want to miss this announcement. Go check it out. And once again, thank you, Mr. Long, for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. May God keep you all. Bye-bye.